what we're gonna do is we're gonna use nice words in order to represent the tantrum. So it could be something like the child walks into the room and you say, hey, I am so pleased that you did not have a tantrum in the last few seconds. Or even better, if you think that they're gonna self-sabotage, replace it with nice words. Hey, I noticed that you were super frustrated and I am so impressed with your ability to have some self-control. Or I love how you're respecting the household in telling me that you're frustrated. If they're already in the process of having a tantrum, you wait until they take that deep breath. So they might be kicking and screaming and rah, 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 and then all of a sudden you see them go, that's your chance. You step right in and you go, I can see that you're really upset. I'm really impressed that you're trying to get control of yourself. Let's take some breaths together and hold their hands and help them process through that, okay? Once you've done this a few times and you've done those nice words and said those nice things at those times, then you wanna actually replace and use the tantrum language or the crisis language or whatever they associate that behavior with at a time of transition. And the reason why you're doing this is because you want to keep them from associating that time period with that. So when they transition, they're not going to think about having the tantrum as much. So that self-sabotage, it will keep that from happening. So you do something like as soon as they're about to get into the car to go somewhere, or they are headed into school or daycare or whatever it might be, you could say something like, hey, I noticed that you haven't had a tantrum for the last 6 minutes. I am really impressed with your ability to control yourself. They might have had a tantrum at minute 7 ago, but they didn't have one for the last 6. So be factual, but make sure that you're utilizing that language so that they know that that's a part of the value system. Anytime they're going to transition, use that language. Then you've got to back it up into the time period of when they would normally have a tantrum. So when you say, okay, it's time for us to start picking up our toys, if that's a normal period of time when you would typically have a tantrum, then that's when you go ahead and you say, okay, it's time to pick up your toys. And I am so impressed that you did not get frustrated and have a tantrum right now. That shows so much power and self-control. I love it. Okay, give them some feedback and some intensity with it so that they get that intensity of interaction from you instead of the intensity of can you please stop having that tantrum? So number 1, use nice words. Do it throughout the course of time. Try to replace what you would normally call it. Number 2, do it at a transition time period. Number 3, say it when it would normally occur. Okay, and use the actual language. If you get a tantrum at that time period where you're saying it and you've backed it up, you've done it at the transitions and all that, it just means that you need to do it a little bit more at the transition times and use those nice words a little longer before you transition to the time period of when they would normally have that tantrum. Don't avoid those time periods of when they would normally have that tantrum unless it's for a reason of they're overtired, they're overstimulated, or they're hyper-focusing on some sort of thing. And even then, if they're hyper-focusing on something, that's something they really need to build some self-restraint with. So I hope that this was helpful, and feel free to give me a comment. If there's other things that you want me to address, please let me know. I would love to help. Thanks so much. For more tips, tricks, join us at www.thebehaviorbootcamp.com.